Today we're setting the points on this 216. This is a 49 216, and the manual, the specs call for, if these were brand new points, to set them at 22 thousandths. What that allows for is eventual, the rubbing block on the points will eventually wear, according to the manufacturer, and you should get to the point where they're at the optimum setting of 18 thousandths. Well, these points are not new. They've been in here for quite a while. I'm going to say at least 7,000-8,000 miles. So what I'm doing is I'm going to double check them to make sure that they're on 18. Now, I've already done a check, and they've actually widened more. They were probably at let's say they were probably at about 20, and I want 18. So I've reset them, and to show the easy procedure, this screw here is what loosens or tightens the points, and this screw here is like a cam. If you turn it in one direction, it'll close the points, and if you turn it the other, it'll open them. Now you want to take your screw, your tightening screw, and just loosen it enough to where there's some drag, and that way you get very little slippage, and then you can adjust. Now what I've discovered is that when you go to tighten, when you get your setting on your points and you go to tighten them down, the points will probably, they do on this distributor, they may move up to 2 thousandths open. So what I did was I set these at 16 thousandths and tightened them up and went back, and they were actually at a good 18 thousandths now. This first feeler that I'm going to put in is 16 thousandths, and I don't know if you can tell, but there is some wiggle room. See that there's some play. The point arm is not moving. So I flipped it over. This other one here is 18 thousandths, and that just goes in there. There's good drag. So in my case, my points will move up to 2 thousandths towards open when I tighten that screw down. So you may try, if you have trouble getting your points set, you may try to set them 2 thousandths smaller. In other words, go to 16. If you're trying for 22, you may go for 20, and then check them when you tighten them up, and they'll come up to, they may come in the spec for you. They will move more than likely. I'm not going to replace them. The points look good. They felt good. They don't have that many miles. I don't have any running issues. I just noticed I was having a little bit of starting issues on cold start, so I wanted to check them points. And what I'm going to do next is do the timing and make sure it's on. I had to replace this side panel at a previous video, and in order to do it, I had to pull the distributor. Now, when I did, I had all my markings set, and I put it back to where it was a good swag to where it was, but it could be off a little bit. I'm guessing that I may be a little retarded, because I noticed on the load test when I've been driving it that I'm not pinging my valves. So I'm going to put this back together. The cat back going to start it up, let it warm up, and then we'll go over setting the timing on the BB. Now this is a 216. The BB is actually about 2 degrees before top dead center, and that's what I'm going to set this to, because previous settings I've determined that actually is optimum for this particular engine. Some engines like it a little bit more advanced. This engine really likes it on spec. Okay, I've hooked up my my little RPM gauge here, and I'm sitting at about around 500 RPM, and that's okay. The deviation, I believe, is because it's in parallel with the tach in my dash. So around 500. The one in my truck is more steady. So that's good enough RPM to check the timing. Now what I'm going to do now is this is my timing light is a 12 volt timing light. It does work, but it's real dim,
when it's at 6 volts. So I've got a 12 volt circuit in this truck with that over there. I've actually got, you can barely see to the left of the air cleaner down there on the firewall, I've got a 6 to 12 volt converter. So I've got 12 volt going to my timing light, and I should be able to see the light pretty good. And I'm going to try to aim it down here at the BB, and let's see if we can, where we're at. BB, you can barely see it, but it's a little bit advanced past the BB. Nope, it's right on it. The BB is right on it. I can see it. I don't know if you can see it in the video here. So that's good. I'm not going to adjust this timing at all. I'm going to leave it right there then. Perhaps my cold starting was due to the points being a little too far gapped. And it did start right up for me with the new gap setting. So I believe I'm all right. The procedure to adjust the timing is you've got a screw right down here on the vacuum advance. Normally it's on the back side of the distributor. You loosen that, you turn it counterclockwise to advance it, clockwise to retard it. Of course, a real easy way is back in the day, they allowed for on-the-spot timing adjustments with this adjustment right here, which is an octane adjustment. You can actually do the same thing there. When you do your initial time and you want to set that at 0 and go and set it the traditional way. But that way right down there will do it for you also. But anyway, my timing's good. It's running good. And started good, so I'm going to leave it at that. Just remember that little trick with the points and you ought to be good to go. Thanks. Well, I forgot to touch on a few other things if you do have a meter. Well, when you have your points off, when you have the distributor cap off and you are adjusting the points or cleaning them, it's a good idea to put a little dab of grease on the rubbing block or on the cam on the distributor that turns that contacts the rubbing block. Give it a little bit of a lubrication. And also, you know, once you shut it down, you want to test it for restart. It should start right up too if all's good. This didn't need a tune-up, so I didn't go through all the procedures on it, but you ought to check everything. This is an oil bath air cleaner, so it doesn't, the element doesn't need checked. But when you have them down and you're looking at it, it's good to just do a good visual check over of everything. But it just goes to show you sometimes just a little bit of maintenance. You're talking about 5, 10, 15 minutes, at the most half an hour, to ensure that your engine will run good for you and not break down on those back roads on you. So anyway, there we go.